Please take it.
One, sir. One. Thank you.
So Ravi, as I can see that you have worked for approximately 4 years at SBI.
Yes.
So why RBI now?
So, commercial bank like state bank, it is in the policy implementation phase. It works on the ground. While RBI is a policy formulation organization. So I want to move from that from policy implementation bank to a policy formulation regulator.
Okay, and you have also cleared this CAT. So you didn't go for this appearing for this interviews, or you must have appeared for interviews.
Yes, sir.
So why not going to management then?
So I appeared for CAT for around 3 to 4 times, and this time I had converted my AM calls also in AM Kozhikode, and I didn't appear for AM Lucknow and IT Bombay.
Okay.
So actually, I had to make a call between RBI and management because after around 6.5 years of work going for a 2-year MBA is not that much fruitful.
Okay.
In that case, I should be going for a 1-year executive MBA.
Okay.
And secondly, sir, my age is also a bit more higher. So if I had gone for 2-year MBA, so my age for public sector working would have been exhausted.
Okay. So do you know something about NPAs?
Yes, sir.
So what are the different categories in which NPAs can be classified?
So NPAs are basically those loans which get bad, which don't earn income for banks after 90 days. When the 90 days period of payment is over, then we can say that the loan has turned NPA. There are also before that we have special mention accounts. So if the loan is defaulted for around 30 days, we categorize that into SMA1, and that is and for every 30 days we categorize that into SMA1, 2, and 3. And after that it comes into the NPA.
Okay, and what is the difference between doubtful assets and loss assets?
So doubtful assets, if NPA is if a loan is NPA for around 1 year, it's called doubtful assets. And if the NPAs are not or NPAs remain NPAs for more than 3 years, they are called as loss assets.
Okay. Can you tell me something about Nostro account?
Yes. So banks and other financial institutions, they perform forex transactions. So our banks have their accounts in foreign banks because everywhere our banks can't have their own branches. So they maintain their accounts with the foreign branches of foreign banks. So those accounts of our banks in those foreign branches are called as Nostro accounts.
Okay. There's a word that has been coined recently, PFSI.
Yes.
Have you heard about this?
Yes.
So what is that, and why has this particular term been coined out?
So it stands for Banking and Financial Services. And actually, sir, this whole relates to the financial sector, and this is a very gross earner in terms of India's economy. The IT sector earns a lot in this BFS sector, and that's why it has been given due importance.
And what is this I refer to into BFSI?
So it's I'm not very sure. If I can make a guess, it's information technology.
It's insurance.
Insurance.
Okay, and how is it related to your digitization, or you can say the digital divide initiative taken by this Prime Minister? Can you relate it to digital divide? Because this term has been coming up due to this, so there is some connection between them. Can you make out the connection?
So our government has been very much focused in financial inclusion, and that too through digitization and all. And so all the financial services in terms of financial inclusion also involve banking and insurance.
Okay.
So that is the reason that government has been very much focused into ensuring services, financial services to the unbanked and the underserved population of India.
Okay. Can you tell me the basic difference between CRR and SLR?
Yes, sir. So CRR stands for cash reserve ratio, and SLR stands for statutory liquidity ratio.
Okay.
While CRR is 4% now, and that is a part of the demand deposits, demand and time liabilities of the banks that has to be maintained with the RBI.
Okay.
So that the public, so as we can, public can be felt assured that the deposits are safe. While SLR is around 90.5% now, and that in that banks have to invest in government securities, which are safer assets.
Okay.
And these 90.5% of their MDTL net demand time liabilities. So in this way, banks, Reserve Bank assures assures the public that the deposits are safe.
Okay.
And that's why banks are a bit safer and they can go ahead and lend.
Okay, a new type of bonds have been developed recently in India, which was issued by one of the major private sector bank. Do you know about it?
I'm not aware of that, means what you mentioned.
Okay.
New type of bonds are basically masala bonds and green bonds.
Yeah.
So these two have been lately in the picture. So if you want to explain, if you want me to explain.
Yeah.
So masala bonds are bonds raised in rupees in foreign markets. In this way, banks, whatever institutions which raise masala bonds, they don't face this exchange risk for foreign exchange risk.
Okay.
So the risk is on the part of the investor.
Okay.
And HDFC Bank had raised masala bonds.
Okay. And you were talking about something about this foreign risk and also what are the instruments that you can use to reduce these foreign risk?
So basically we can use derivative instruments, and these are forwards, futures, swaps, and since forwards are OTC kind of instruments, so futures are basically used in terms of hedging. We hedge our various risk, foreign exchange risks in terms of derivative instruments, so that we can have a predetermined official agreement as to we'll be exchanging our forex currencies at predetermined rate, which other means one party can take a short position and other party can take a long position.
Okay. Can you throw some light on the different kinds of options that we have?
Yes, sir. So we have got two kind of options. It's a call option and a put option.
Please elaborate both these.
So call option is options are basically those kind of derivative instruments wherein the one who sells the instrument, they don't have the luxury to back out from the agreement, while the one who buys the options, they have the luxury whether to finally honor that contract or not. So while call option gives that they have the luxury to buy that, the put option have the luxury to sell that.
Okay. So let us say that I, being an investor, wish to minimize my foreign exchange risk. So why will I prefer options over a future or a forward? Or why should I prefer an options over a forward or a future?
So because as I said, the options provide that option to not to execute that agreement. So in that case, options are more, they give that flexibility to exercise that agreement or not.
Apart from the risk, do we have any other difference in terms of the benefits that they provide?
So I'm not sure about it.
So for example, in case of options, there is no limit. But in case of futures and options, you have limit because the price and the date is already being set up.
Yes.
So that's one more difference between that. You know about bank assurance?
Yes, sir.
Please elaborate on that.
So lately, from the early 2000s, the government of India has stressed upon the bankers and the insurance industry. Both should come together to provide the insurance services to the unbanked people, and also since insurance penetration was very low in our economy, so the banks, the insurance companies and the banks, they entered into kind of an agreement, and through the bank branches, the insurance companies have been selling their insurance plans. So the coming together of banks and insurance to offer the services is called as bank assurance.
Okay, good enough. You were talking something about financial inclusion.
Yes.
So what are the parameters on the basis of which you can say that the economy is financially inclusive now? What are the parameters?
So there are multiple parameters. The most prominent being them is the number of the percentage of people having those accounts.
Bank accounts.
Yeah, bank accounts. So that is one of the prominent parameters. Other parameters being the branches concentration per unit of area and per unit of population. Also, we can since we are in the technology kind of we are in an era of technology. So the ATM penetration, the POS machines penetrations are also being considered in terms of financial inclusion.
Okay, good enough. Can you tell me something about balloon mortgage?
So I've not heard about it. So
Okay, ma'am.
So have you heard of the term deficit financing?
yes, ma'am.
Can you please explain?
Ma'am, governments have since governments in mostly developing countries, they have less resources to spend on the public goods and other sectors. So what they do is that they raise money from the market, and so that whatever deficit they have in terms of revenues, they raise, and in terms of expenditure they plan. So they raise money, that deficit, and that deficit is being financed from either through the central bank or through the market. That is called deficit financing.
So is deficit financing practice in India right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Inflation, like RBI is always after inflation. The inflation is a hot topic for RBI. So is inflation always bad for our economy or any economy? I mean, can you tell me something positive about inflation? Like why inflation should be there, or should be there sometimes or no?
It should be there.
Okay, why?
I would say that inflation is a necessary evil. Inflation in moderate quantity. It is beneficial for an economy because this shows that the price of products would be increasing, and this gives a kind of an encouragement and entices the producers to invest more. In that way, economy will be improving, and that way incomes of the whole working population will be increased.
And what is natural rate of unemployment?
I'm not very sure about this.
We can make a guess.
National rate of unemployment is that rate of unemployment which would be going ahead even after which is going on even after will be implementing policies, and there is no such an certain extra unemployment or extra employment. It's like it's a feature of an economy that this would be a natural rate of unemployment for this economy.
This guy's unemployment, is it natural? Will it fall into the category of natural rate of unemployment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Just one last question. What is monetary policy transmission?
So monetary policy is being set by the Reserve Bank. So that monetary policy has to be whatever the decision is being taken, and whatever the liquidity position they decide, that has to be transmitted to the public. And this transmission is through all the financial institutions which are in the financial system, and most importantly being the banks. So this transmission has to reach, and this is being set by the repo rate being set by the RBI, and also the other policy rates are reverse repo rate and MSF. So through these, the credit loan rates of the public are being decided, as banks have the cost of their funds based on repo rates. So this is the money transmission which flows from the RBI to the public.
Okay, good enough. So Ravi, I think you're quite well prepared for your interview. What you can just prepare, one is that you can be a little more specific in your CAT answer. You have said that it's you have converted it as well.
Yes.
So just back it by your same answer that your 2 years program would exhaust your all your attempts for your public service exams. That you can keep that in your interview as well. And how has been your if you want to sum up your experience into SBI, how has been your experience into SBI?
So I would say it was a very good experience. In fact, I was fortunate enough to work with the public. That would be the very golden line for me in working with SBI, working for the public and working with the public. I think that any institution or any other sector, apart from UPSC civil services, they don't provide you the interaction with the public. I think in this way, this has been a very enriching experience for me.
So my simple question is that since you have been working like for 4 years and had a very good experience with them, and You have also cleared your CIB exams and all.
Yes.
So why was there a very specific need of like going for like CAT? You also, since you gave your CAT exam as well, you gave your RBI exam as well. So it turns out that are you experimenting at this age of yours, or is it something that you're not getting satisfied? So that basically puts a question mark to me that what are you basically like are you not very clear at this age as well, like what do you actually want to do? Because year into SBI, then going for CAT, then converting it and then not taking it again. So you're trying to get at what I'm asking.
Yes, I'm getting what you're
So you have to be
You
you.
also appeared 5 times for RBI.
Yeah. So
ma'am, so if I can answer that, it's like 2013, 14, the attempts were not counted of prelims, but I had mentioned over here.
okay.
They were not counted. Earlier it used to be if you write mains, that would be counted. In terms of clarity, I had been attempting for CAT. In fact, I had got IM calls and I converted that, but I was in waitlist.
Okay.
Secondly, so in terms of clarity of purpose, I had always wanted to work in the public sector. The application of my knowledge and whatever skills I gained till my working age, working means this 38 years whatever, I want to apply that in the public sector. So since I was contemplating resigning from State Bank, as I wanted to move from I think that logical advancement for me would be from SBI to RBI as a policy implementation to policy formulation. So since I was contemplating my resignation, so I wanted to reassure myself that I am into my own rhythm
Okay.
of old rhythm. So I appealed for CAT and then I cleared it with 98.25 percentile. I converted also. But after I converted my AMPOSI code, I started deciding as to I should be joining or not.
Okay.
So, and since I decided that I should not be joining, I skipped my AM Lucknow and IT Bombay calls. So that's, and then I prepared for.
Okay, fine. So,
I gave a more descriptive answer.
Yeah. So it's I just feel that that's the basic question.
Yes, that was a query which I also had, and as if I am an interviewer, I also raised this query that you don't have a very stable purpose.
Yeah.
Digressing from one thing to another.
Yeah, so since you have been like going from 4 years of experience into SBI, then going for CAT exam and then going for RBI, so keeps a lot of revolving chairs revolving that okay, where you actually want to go. So I think that you're prepared well for your interview. So you can just read a little bit or more on Indian economy. And when is your interview?
3rd December.
3rd December. So I think you have a lot of time, 1 week's time. So you can spend a little on Indian economy and that's just fine.
So, if I want to get an answer from your side on that clarity of purpose, what could be a more precise one? I gave you a very descriptive. I just wanted you to know my side so that you can give me.
But you were honest, that is also a good point.
Yeah. So what do you have been saying is like
2013 and 14 were not counted, but still you have mentioned it. So that is a good point from your side.
So I think that if you have like if you're saying that you have converted into CAT, you've converted your exam for CAT. And since you're also saying that you're on a higher in terms of age, so I think that's a well justified answer. So you can go with the same answer in the panel.
The last time also I had got this question also from the panel, and I told them that at this age going for 2-year MBA is not that good.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work in public sector, so I would have exhausted.
I think the answer is pretty justified. You can stick to that. Okay. All the best.
Thank you. Any more feedbacks?
That's it, man. All the best.
Thank you.